Hi, I'm Mr. C, the teacher, and this is my classroom. So grab your tools for school and join in with us. Or sit back and just watch. And let's go on a learning journey together. Because you're watching Lessons from the Classroom. Well, let's take a look at what the topic for today's episode is going to be about.
Yellow.
Well, hey, Chuck, you must be pretty excited about today, February 2nd.
I don't know. What's so great about February 2nd?
Yeah, February 2nd, you know.
What?
February 2nd, your day, your special day.
Yeah, my special day. Still don't know what you're talking about.
Big show, you know, you come out of the burrow, see your shadow, 6 more weeks of winter, don't see your shadow, spring comes early. You know.
Oh, yeah, right. Is it like a National Marmot Month, I think?
No, not National Marmot Month, no.
Okay, let me think. A Woodchuck Week, right?
No, not Woodchuck Week either.
Wait, I got this. Okay, wait, don't tell me. Whistle Pig Wednesday, right?
Whistle Pig Wednesday. No, Chuck, it's Groundhog Day.
Groundhog Day? What, is there really such a thing?
Yeah, Groundhog Day. You come out of your burrow, you're a prognosticator, which means you're predicting the future weather. Will we get spring early or will we get 6 more weeks of winter?
When's that again?
February 2nd. You do it every year, right?
I usually sleep until April.
Oh, okay. All right, well, here on this episode, we're going to learn all about Groundhog Day. You know, I love being surrounded by great books, because one of my favorite things to do is to read stories. So, let's make some time right now and read a storybook. This is story time. Groundhog Day by Betsy Lewin and read by Mr. C, the teacher. It's February 2nd, Groundhog Day. Everyone is waiting for Phil, the groundhog, to wake up and come out of his burrow. If it's cloudy, Phil won't see his shadow, and he will stay outside, and that means spring will come soon. If it's sunny, Phil will see his shadow. He will go back inside his burrow, and there will be 6 more weeks of winter. But Phil is still asleep in his dark, warm bed. Suddenly, Phil is lifted up, high in the air. Everyone cheers. Then Phil is on the cold ground. He takes a few steps and looks around. No shadow. He sees lots and lots of feet, but no shadow. He looks up and sees a cold gray sky, but no shadow. The crowd shouts, "Hooray! Phil does not see his shadow." Spring is on the way. Phil hears a big click. A light flashes. The light makes a shadow. Eek! Squeaks Phil. He dives back into his burrow. All these years, people thought it was the weather. Now we know the truth. Phil is afraid of his own shadow. All right, it's the time in our show when we have a segment I like to call Questionable Letters. And that's where a viewer writes in to ask us something. Let's see what today's letter is going to ask.
Questionable letters.
All right, well, it's that time in our show when we take a letter from one of our viewers. Let's see what our letter says today. Just pass me that one. That's great. Thank you. All right, let's see what it says. Dear Mr. C, what is the difference between a groundhog and a marmot? From Peg Whistle. Oh, and I like the picture that you're drawing here, Peg, of a groundhog there. Well, that's a great question, Peg, and I think I have a friend, Chuck, who's probably better at answering that than I can. Let's go visit my friend Chuck and find out for you. Hey there, Chuck. What you doing?
Hey there, Mr. C. Yeah, I'm just seeing how far I can chuck this wood.
Right. So, in other words, how much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?
Whoa, that's impressive.
Yeah, thanks.
Although you could also say, how much ground would a groundhog hog if a groundhog could hog ground?
Whoa. Actually, that's why I came to see you. We had a question from one of our viewers on what are some different names for a groundhog. Think you could help us out?
Yep, no problem.
So, hey, Chuck, my friend Peg wrote us a letter and she wanted to know what's the difference between a groundhog and a marmot?
Well, there's not really much difference.
Uh-huh.
You see, groundhogs belong to the squirrel family.
Oh.
And so we go by a bunch of different names like woodchucks, marmots, and even whistle pigs. So it doesn't really matter whether you call us groundhogs or not.
Well, thanks for explaining, Chuck. That really was helpful. Well, there you go, Peg. That answers that.
Worksheet lessons.
So here we have a worksheet for our theme unit on Groundhog Day. This is the Groundhog Legend. Cut out the sentences, that's down here, and paste them in the correct order. Let's take a look at the sentences. He comes out of his burrow. He goes back in his burrow for 6 more weeks of winter. It is sunny. The groundhog sees his shadow. The groundhog wakes up. All right, this is a color, cut, and paste. So first job, let's do the coloring. Okay, we've got our coloring done. It's time to cut. I'm going to cut straight across on the bottom here. And we've got our glue stick and we've got our 4 sentences. Let's read the sentence and then figure out where it's going to go. This sentence says, the groundhog wakes up. When I look at the pictures, this top one shows the groundhog waking up. So this sentence is going to go up there. There we go. The groundhog wakes up. This one says, it is sunny, the groundhog sees his shadow. Here we go. This picture. This one says, he comes out of his burrow. That's going to go right here where he's coming out of the burrow. And we've only got one more left and one more spot. It says, he goes back in his burrow for 6 more weeks of winter. There we go, and there's our finished worksheet. The groundhog wakes up. He comes out of his burrow. It is sunny. The groundhog sees his shadow. He goes back in his burrow for 6 more weeks of winter.
Here we have the opportunity to view the groundhog in its natural environment. It's early in the morning before sunrise on February the 2nd. Let's watch quietly and carefully now as we see nature unfold in all of its glory.
And today's weather forecast is for mainly sunny skies with a high of +5 degrees and a low of -2 Celsius. February the 2nd, Groundhog Day. Will the groundhog see his shadow this morning? Stay tuned, we'll find out.
Quiet now. Looks like we might get to see the groundhog emerge from his burrow. Yes, he's coming up. He's out now. He's looking around. I wonder if he will see his shadow or not. He's glancing that way as the sun comes up. Oh, and it looks as if he has seen his shadow. He's turning back towards the safety of his burrow. Oh, and yes, he's going down. That's it, folks. It's now been predicted 6 more weeks of winter. All right, it's time in our episode for this segment that I like to call the Did You Know Fun Facts.
Did you know? Oh, look, don't pay any attention to what it says on the board back there. Someone let the groundhog write that on the whiteboard.
All right, some interesting facts about groundhogs. It says that a baby groundhog is known as a pup. Groundhogs are sometimes called whistle pigs. That funny name comes from the habit of whistling.
Like, where do you get this stuff from? You Google this? You're just Googling it, eh? You couldn't come up with it on your own?
Some people refer to groundhogs as woodchucks. It comes from a First Nations word that's pronounced woochak.
Huh, really? No kidding, eh?
Groundhogs are known for digging huge underground burrows.
What? No, that's not that. No, this is silly. They're not that big. Okay, now you're just getting ridiculous. Nothing like that at all. They're just being silly.
When a groundhog builds its home, it actually builds a separate bathroom. The bathroom is away from where it sleeps and where it stores its food. Even if it's living with a whole family, it has a separate bathroom. Pretty cool.
You know, the way this guy talks about it, you'd think humans didn't do the same thing.
Did you know that although groundhogs make their homes in burrows in the ground, they can climb trees?
What? Really? I didn't know that.
You didn't know that. You're a groundhog. You should know these things.
What, do I look like I climb a lot of trees?
Okay, I don't know what I was thinking. Groundhogs don't climb trees. This is too high. It's too high. Get me down. Get me down. Get me down. Get me down. I don't want to do this.
Groundhogs eat mostly grass, fruit, and the bark or buds of young trees.
And coffee. Don't forget about coffee. Need some Java in the morning to wake up.
A groundhog can hold its breath for up to 5 minutes.
Wait, what? Okay, time me. I'm gonna hold my breath.
But groundhogs are only found here in North America. That's in the United States and Canada. You won't find them elsewhere.
Oh, yeah, no, I don't think that's what they mean. Not made in Canada.
Hey, was that 5 minutes?
Groundhogs will hibernate for about 5 months, usually from late October to about early April. But the males will often come out in February, not to look for their shadows, but rather to protect their territory.
Okay, whoa, back up, everybody, back up. This is my place, back up.
And groundhogs may not look like squirrels, but they are the largest member of the squirrel family.
Is that actually true? I think I have a cousin that's a squirrel.
That's what it says here. The most famous of all the groundhogs, though, of course, is Punxsutawney Phil, who lives in Punxsutawney.
Yeah, autographs will be given later over at the merchandise table.
That's in Pennsylvania. But Phil isn't the only groundhog that's famous. Well, in Nova Scotia, there's Shubenacadie Sam.
Shuba who now? What?
So according to legend, if a groundhog sees its shadow, it's going to run back into its burrow because it's scared of its shadow. That's what it says. And then there'll be 6 more weeks of winter. But if it doesn't see its shadow, then spring comes early.
Spring is here, everybody. Spring's here.
Just so you guys know, I'm not really scared of my shadow. It's that radio character that's in the comics, you know.
The Shallow Nose.
He kind of creeps me out. That's the guy I'm scared of.
Oh, I think the groundhog's just making that up now.
Groundhogs, therefore, are known as prognosticators. That means they can predict the weather, foretelling future events.
Look into my crystal ball and I will prognosticate what the weather will be. 6 more weeks of winter or spring to come early. Look into my crystal ball.
Punxsutawney Phil, by the way, has a wife named Phyllis who lives with him when he's not busy predicting the weather.
Hello.
But groundhogs aren't really all that great at predicting the weather anyways. They're only right about 39% of the time.
That's so embarrassing.
That's not very much, buddy.
Okay, listen. I know I've made a few mistakes in the past, but trust me, it's going to be a little longer for winter here. I know that's not the best news, but winter's going to be a bit longer. You know, I'm like thinking maybe 6 more weeks. 6 weeks isn't that long, okay?
Now you know. It's time for everyone's favorite game, Groundhog or Not. Groundhogs are members of the squirrel family, but squirrels are not groundhogs. A woodchuck, groundhog or not? Groundhog. A scared squirrel, groundhog or not? Not. A large pig known as a hog, groundhog or not? Not. A marmot attempting a high five, groundhog or not? Groundhog. A red squirrel attempting a high five while hanging from a tree, groundhog or not? Not. A large Harley-Davidson motorcycle, also known as a hog, groundhog or not? Not. A hog riding a hog, groundhog or not? Not. A yellow-bellied BC marmot, groundhog or not? Groundhog. A squirrel attempting to fly, groundhog or not? Not. A groundhog on a log, groundhog or not? Groundhog. An upside-down squirrel, groundhog or not? Not. A selfish person hogging all of the chips to himself, standing on the ground, groundhog or not? Not. A woolly woodchuck in a windstorm, groundhog or not? Groundhog. A lazy squirrel on a rock, groundhog or not? Not. A talkative marmot, groundhog or not? Groundhog. A squirrel yelling at a groundhog, groundhog or not? Not. A marmot, woodchuck or whistle pig in winter, groundhog or not? Groundhog. And that was Groundhog or Not.
All right, well, it looks like I've got plenty of art supplies and tools on hand, so I guess it's time to do some quick art creations.
Hey there, Chuck. What you working on?
Yeah, this is a self-portrait.
Oh, self-portrait.
Yeah, why don't we get the camera guy to move in closer and take a better look at it?
You want the camera guy to come in closer? Okay, yeah, they can do that. Yeah, come on in closer. We can take a look at Chuck's drawing here. Yeah, so Chuck, I kind of remember this picture. It's from that photo, woodchuck on a windy day, right?
Yeah, that's the one, except I'm not using the term either groundhog or woodchuck anymore. I was talking to Van Isle Violet.
Yeah. Van Isle Violet. Yeah, up in Mount Washington area.
That's right, that's the one.
So what was she saying?
Well, she was saying that here on the west coast of Canada, that we're more known as marmots instead of woodchucks or groundhogs.
Really?
Groundhogs are more of eastern Canada, like on the east coast of Canada in the United States. They're known as groundhogs, where here they're known as marmots. So I prefer to have the term marmot instead.
So are you from the west coast here? Were you born here?
No, originally I'm from Jersey,
Jersey. Okay.
but I emigrated here a few years back.
Right. So from now on, you prefer to be called marmot because marmots are sort of the west coast of Canada, like Vancouver Island. Did you know, in fact, that marmots, the gray marmot from Vancouver Island, the Vancouver Island marmot, in fact, is the rarest mammal in all of Canada. There was only about 30 of them left at one point.
Whoa, you're kidding, that's rare.
So from now on, you want to be called a marmot because you're here on Vancouver Island and not a groundhog.
Yep, that's right, you got it. Besides, I don't want to have to deal with any of those groundhog jokes.
Yeah, what jokes?
Well, what do you call a groundhog who eats too much?
I don't know what you call a groundhog who eats too much.
A round hog.
Oh, that's terrible.
How about this one? Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Dewey.
Dewey who?
Do we really have to wait 6 more weeks for spring?
Oh. Okay, another 6 weeks to spring. I got it. Now, you got any more of these terrible jokes?
Yeah, what did the groundhog say when the wolf grabbed him by the tail?
I don't know. What did the groundhog say to the wolf who grabbed him by the tail?
Well, that's the end of me.
Oh, okay, I see. Because this is your end. Got it. Right,
Yeah, I really cracked myself up.
Terrible. Thanks, Marmot. So Chuck the Marmot, not Chuck the Woodchuck or Chuck the Groundhog.
Yeah, that's right.
But Chuck the Marmot. Hey, thanks for sharing, buddy.
Yeah, no problem. Anytime, big guy.
And now for something completely different. Dancing groundhogs. Oh, this is just kind of getting weird. Why are we just having the groundhogs dance? Do we try to fill some extra time in the episode or something? Who thought of this idea?
You did. You're the producer.
Oh yeah, right. Oh, it's a good idea then. Oh, well done. Keep it going.
Well, that's all the time we have for this week's episode. I hope you learned a lot and had some fun doing it.
Well, I know I certainly had lots of fun, and I plan to delve into learning a lot more about these absolutely truly amazing creatures.
But Chuck, you are a groundhog.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah, okay. Well, like Chuck's going to do, learn some more about nature out there with the groundhogs. And February 2nd is Groundhog Day, so have some fun with it.
You know, I really like your sweater.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I like yours too.
Yeah, it's cozy.
All right. Bye now. Well, thanks for joining me, and I hope you learned something new and had fun doing the lessons. Join me next time on another episode of Lessons from the Classroom.